You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about Stefon Diggs, and this video is going to have Vikings fans having flashbacks of a wide receiver that is all-world talented. Let's make sure we say that up front. I think he's a top 3 receiver in the league. I went back just to glance at the stats, and it was like, whoa. Stefon Diggs is a certified badass at wide receiver. However, some of his actions and his antics makes you wonder, as teams may get disgruntled with him, are we headed down the road of another what could have been career like Antonio Brown? Because as of right now, Stefon Diggs is most definitely, he's trending straight towards the Hall of Fame. But as with a lot of these receivers, the one missing piece they need is a ring. He thought but going to the Buffalo Bills was going to change so much. And, well, we don't know. In fact, we don't know what the Bills are going to look like. Have you noticed the Bills are kind of down this year from a media perspective? Now, that doesn't mean anything. I still think they should actually win the AFC East. They should. But the Jets are most definitely going to have something to say about that after getting Aaron Rodgers. And do not sleep, and I keep saying this, do not sleep on how much better New England's offense is going to be under Bill O'Brien. They're going to score a considerable amount of points more a game. And the defense is still going to be good, and the running game is still going to be good. New England's not going to be an easy out at all. So, let's get to this, because there is a report that has come out, and if you are a Buffalo Bills fan today, you are like, oh, no, because your stud receiver he's pissed. He's not happy in Buffalo all of a sudden. Uh-oh. And Vikings fans have answered this by saying, look, we told you so. So, I don't know if there's going to end up being some buyer's remorse here, but Stefon Diggs is unhappy with his role in the offense and his voice in play calling. Now, the thing that is so troubling about this is how much more can they get this guy the ball? I mean, 3 seasons, 127 catches, 103 catches, 108 catches. No doubt, 8 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns. We're talking 166 targets, 164 targets, 154 targets. That's more targets than he got in any season with the Minnesota Vikings. Wasn't his issue Kirk Cousins? By the way, Kirk and Justin Jefferson have shown their ass. Let's be honest. But so have Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs. It just makes me wonder, what is it that any of these NFL teams are supposed to do at this point to get this guy to be happy? The Stefon Diggs drama in Buffalo provided plenty of entertainment and intrigue for roughly 24 hours last week, before the Bills coach, Sean McDermott, shifted into full-blown nothing-to-see-here mode. Oh, boy, there's something to see here. Don't move along. Of course, there's plenty to see. I just said that, Florio. We saw it play out on Tuesday. A truce somehow was negotiated between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, a surely tentative middle ground that McDermott dared not disrupt by inadvertently blurting out the truth. I'm going to tell you right now, if the Bills don't really achieve this year, I think McDermott's I think his seat is warm. I think it's warm right now. I do. For the most of last week, there were no reports regarding the source of Diggs' obvious displeasure. On Sunday, Ben Volen of the Boston Globe filled the void with this little nugget regarding the situation. Quote, Diggs is frustrated with his role in the offense and his voice in play calling, per a league source close to the Bills' locker room. The situation has been hiding in plain sight since the 17-point playoff loss to the Bengals. They got destroyed. It felt like that game wasn't even close. He gesticulated, interesting word, Florio, in frustration on the field late in the game. He stood before quarterback Josh Allen with arms spread and profanities likely flying. Diggs left the post-game locker room before meeting with reporters. We all remember that meltdown. He skipped all of the voluntary portion of the offseason program, a fact that didn't trouble the Bills fans as much as it should have. Last week, the boiling point was quickly reached after Diggs showed up to mandatory minicamp, attended meetings with McDermott and GM Brandon Beane on Monday and Tuesday, and then left before the first mandatory minicamp practice started on Tuesday. What is it with these wide receivers not wanting to practice? It's still not clear whether Diggs stormed out or whether he was asked/told to leave. Holy shit. Diggs complained on social media about someone lying. It's possible he left after someone suggested he do so. Whatever the explanation for the mechanism of the departure, something went haywire to cause him to go. A disagreement, an argument, a confrontation, raised voices, something. Volan's report brings it back to the offense, which makes sense. Diggs got a new contract last year. It's unlikely his concerns are financial. During Super Bowl week, Diggs explained in an appearance to Dan Patrick that the frustrations that became obvious during the playoff loss have been building for weeks. The challenge now becomes fixing whatever it is Diggs is upset about, while doing so in a way that does not disrupt the team's broader objectives. Fortunately for the Bills, the expectations are lower than they were a year ago when they were the preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl, a franchise carrying the crippling burden of sky-high hopes without getting to the AFC Championship the prior year. The Diggs dilemma increases the pressure. Although the basic reality of life in the NFL makes some folks within the organization a little antsy, it's a basic fact that chronic failure to get the most out of one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL will eventually get ownership to consider whether others need to be responsible for getting the most out of said quarterback before his career ends. In other words, and I'm going to tell you one of the big concerns in Bills land, and I don't blame them because I think Josh Allen is a badass. I think Stefon Diggs is a badass. But one of the big concerns is you're going to look up, and it's going to be Dan Marino and Dan Fouts. And that is a massive concern if you are the Buffalo Bills, that this guy, you finally got a certified franchise quarterback after waiting forever after Jim Kelly, and you're like, this is the guy that's going to do it. And then looking up a decade from now, and this kid not having a ring, and that town not having a ring, that city. And that's some great fans up there. I mean, the Bills Mafia, it's arguably the best fan base in football. Just keeping it real. I mean, the way they show up for various causes involving other teams and this and that and the third, that is a passionate, great fan base. Now, all of this has triggered Vikings fans to remind Bills fans, we told you so. Because it seems we may be cruising towards a full-on, is this going to result in Stefon Diggs ultimately just wanting out of town? For whatever reason, he doesn't like his role in the offense. I do not know how in the world they could get this guy the ball any more than they already are. I mean, the targets are absurd with this guy. I mean, he is obviously the number one weapon at wide receiver, and it's not even close. You can tell by the targets. He's one of the top targets in the league. They're supposed to throw him the ball 200 times? I mean, I just don't get it. I said the day of the trade, the Bills will win the Stefon Diggs trade short term. But before I knew what a stud Jefferson would be, the Vikings would win it long term. It's officially no longer an even trade. Shake my head. Vikings fans. These are Vikings fans. This is on the report that McDermott says Diggs is not in attendance at mandatory minicamp and that McDermott is very concerned. From a Vikes fan, welcome to the Stefon Diggs experience. Vikings Central, not saying we told you so, but told you so. Yikes. This, of course, is the great Leonardo DiCaprio. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have seen this one before. Skull. And that, yep, right there. They can identify it. They can identify it. Wow. As a Vikings fan, I'm laughing so hard. Wow. NFL scriptwriters getting lazy. This is Bleacher Report Gridiron.
Stefon Diggs is disgruntled.
Yeah, I mean, here we are again. So Vikings fans are like, this looks really familiar to us. Really familiar. And let's be honest. I mean, the Vikings, they just backfilled him. I mean, Justin Jefferson's, that dude's all world too. If you're a Bills fan today, and look, this team is not winning a Super Bowl without Stefon Diggs, I don't think. All right? I don't. Do I think the team could potentially be better? Yeah. But again, like we talked about earlier, the problem is the division is going to be tougher this year. No way around it. If Tua is healthy all the year, Miami's not going away. New England's going to score more points. And the Jets, let's be real, are going to be substantially harder. And a lot of people are picking the Jets to win that division. I think I'm still on the Bills. But, boy, if you're a Bills fan, you got to sit back. We've seen this before with wide receivers across time. Antonio Brown, Terrell Owens, one of my favorite receivers ever, Randy Moss. This almost always ends with the wide receiver getting shipped out of town. Yikes. Is this the beginning of the end of Stefon Diggs in Buffalo? Holy shit. Wow. Hit subscribe. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.